Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Star Trek Online. I'm sick. So, clearly I am not sick. Clearly, I just learned recently that, well, I'm kind of dying, in my own words, from allergies, which is pretty bad. But yeah, that's pretty much the sense of things. But, anyways, this is a review on the Compiler Science Dreadnought, if I'm not right. Yeah, for some reason I am very bad at reading. Forgive my language, despite it being English. So, this Dreadnought is kind of unique because it is a science Dreadnought and it's a temporal ship. But of course, it's unique in its own way because it looks like the ship from Mass Effect. So I'm going to try to put distance right here, and you see it's very, very big. So, of course, it's not as big as the universe, but at the same time, it's just as wide as it is as well. So, clearly I forgot to drink some water. And what you see right here is the digitizer pets, I believe, from the ship. I believe these are the digital construct drones, which I'm glad they do not have people in it, which is pretty good. So, we're going to go ahead and get to the review of the ship. So, it's a Science Dreadnought, and it's a T6. It just came from the event, and I got it, I believe, which was 2 days ago. So I was going to do a stream immediately after I got it, but some things popped up. Well, actually, like 1,000 things popped up, which pretty much made a delay for 2 days. And of course, the reason why you're hearing all those things is because it's the, it's the thingy, the electric stuff, pretty much. So it's not my fault. I hate it so much. But what I have is pretty much a Dusai build. And yes, I'm coughing. What I have is a Dusai build. Because of its Science of Dreadnought, of course it has a secondary deflector, which it's pretty okay because of course science ships have secondary deflectors, which means more of their science abilities will be able to increase as they progress on. So, as for the review itself, this is a Dusai build. So most of the stuff here I got from like C-Store and event ships. As for the consoles and stuff, like the traits, most of the stuff are expensive, as you guys see it here. Of course, the dilithium burn you can get from the exchange. It's easy to grab because if you collect energy credits, you collect energy credits every single day of every time you play this game. Whether you sell stuff, you destroy ships, you get some research stuff. You can literally get stuff just by destroying ships in general. Just find a bunch of enemies and just pew 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 pew. Simply by doing that, you can do missions and stuff like that. There's thousands of ways you can get energy credits to get this trait. This is from the C-Store. This is from the I believe it is from the Galemore flight deck carrier. It's a Cardassian ship from the C-Store, and it's one of the better traits in the game. And of course, it has some fire cycle haste, which is good. So of course, as I said, it cannot stack. The Storm cannot stack, but the Calm can, which you'll get 5% damage. And of course, it stacks every 10. It stacks 10 times. And one of the traits from it is the digital compilation, which I'll get to that in a minute. Relaunch and repair from the Jem'Hadar Vanguard carrier. It's a $30 ship from the C-Store. Of course, it gives 25% regeneration to yourself and your hangar pets every time you launch a hangar pet. And it all depends on your auxiliary power. So the faster you launch them, the more you regenerate health. So that's a plus. In the Terran Goodbye, it's the only premium ship. It's from the Mirror warship, the Mirror Constitution class warship. It's a $200 ship. If you want it, you better pour some money into that. Of course, it gives some accuracy rating and some critical chance for 20 seconds, stacking up to 3 times, which is absolutely ridiculous. So for the space reputation, these two are damage resistance. This is from the competitive and the discovery reputation. Those don't really matter, but if you're trying to survive, those are good for you. The advanced targeting systems from the Dyson Sphere rep. Of course, it gives some crit severity. Precision from the Romulan rep gives some crit chance. Towers duality, based on your hull, you get some crit chance. And basically have 150. So God knows how much I would probably have. I know I have 41.2 crit chance right now. But in combat, it will differ. Some ground, who gives a shit? And here we have a good day to die, which of course it turns your go down fighting into a clicky. Turns targeted systems, some crit severity. Adaptive offense for some crit chance. Friends from unusual places. Some more distress call pets because of the Romulan rep. I believe it's from the Romulan rep. That's some things that I use to refill my distress calls. Unconventional systems is the main reason why I have the Acheron. Of course, it gives minus 7% recharge to my universal consoles, which means I can use them a whole lot more. Make it go, it's insane. No way to explain it. Every 30 seconds is some random shit. Enlighten, some exotic damage, and some hull regeneration. Wing Commander, because I own the Acheron, it gives some rank up to my pets. Intelligent Agent Taché, recharge on my captain abilities. I can pretty much switch this out for something else because I rarely use them. And Eyes of the Swarm because I own the Acheron once more. Some perception and some accuracy to my hangers, to my pets. And some other is probably some random shit I just achieved, which is pretty cool, but I don't care. And some other stuff which I don't care. You won't really need them. Well, unless you want to wait 5 minutes every time. But here's the exciting part, which is the review. Once again, this is a Dusai build. So we're just going to go with the bottom first. So the devices have the red matter for all power levels. The temporal negotiator. Now this is pretty unique. You have to have a temporal recruit to get this, and you need to collect all the Iconian tech around the storyline before the Iconian War. So it's pretty much easy if you know exactly where to go, but they're all in the unique places, so you need to look out for those. The subspace fuel modulator, that is from the mission. I believe it's from the from the Spectres mission, which Section 31 lets you board a Cardassian ship and discover what the fuck is going on. Tilly's modified shield from the Disco rep. Of course, the only reason why it exists is because of that 15% increase to shields, which is the 15% increased damage to shields. The colony deflector, some crit chance, crit severity. This thing, I really don't care because I don't use a solid ship. I just got it from the Credum facility because I don't care. I just need some shield heal and some hull capacity because the ship is weak as hell. This is a massive ship, so it's hard to turn. Well, unlike the Enterprise J, which take days to turn. So it just gives some sector speed, some damage, some flight boost. And this is here because of that 2-piece, which helps me survive a little bit more, which is the 120 hull regeneration, which is pretty nice. This is the digital construct drone, which is pretty garbage, but I'm gonna use it anyway because it has that cool effect where it's able to digitize stuff. And of course, why the hell not? So I'm not really gonna read these to y'all, but all I know is that it digitizes stuff. It has some overload, some gravimetric stuff. And this is the console. This is the console that also goes with the ship. It's absolutely garbage. But I have it on my Acheron because I have nothing else to put on it, and I need something new in my life. So, of course, it has some good passives, but it's garbage still. So basically, what you saw in the beginning of the video, that was the console. And of course, everything it says is good on paper, but in reality, it's garbage. It really is garbage. But it's a fun clicky to have because it turns your ship into some kind of ball or something like that, but it turns off your ship. You won't be able to use your abilities, you won't be able to use nothing. It turns off your ship. And what I have here is a swarm for the pets. That's about it. This is for the hull regen and the hull capacity. The Agony Redistributor, I just needed something to put on there. Now, and also to note that the Agony Distributor is absolutely garbage. I'm pretty much sure I should have known that before I got the Adamant, because, of course, I like big Dreadnoughts. I don't like slow, fast, nimble ships that hit like a bus, because that's what I specifically got the Mirror Warship for. So in case if anybody really wants to like do a PvP and trying to force my hand, I can use specifically that ship, not the Adamant. But of course it has like intel seating on it, but the Agony Redistributor is, of course, from what people have put it, it was the best console in the game. And what Cryptic did, they nerfed it so damn hard that they pretty much nerfed it to the point where it's just as useless as the ship. Now, don't get me wrong, if you love the Defiant, get the Adamant, because of course it has its own built-in cloak, so you won't really have to worry because you get the because of course you get the Defiant skin, regardless. But as for the console and the trait on the Adamant, of course the trait was useless from the beginning. The console was where it's at. It was the best console in the game at the time. People usually run a lot of DPS in it, so I thought I could get the same. But of course, the day I got it was also the day it was nerfed to the ground, to the point where it couldn't even stand up to most consoles. So now most people are even disgusted just by using it. But I'm using it because I really don't have anything else to put on here. But of course, since it's pretty much garbage, I would rather just have the multi-directional torped artillery barrage, because for the all damage, of course it's supposed to be a multi-barrel for the Lexington, but you can equip it anywhere. So of course it'll just fire quantum torpedoes everywhere. Next is the Dark Matter Anomaly. I normally just got this off exchange for at least 12 million. You're gonna have to grind for that. So, long story short, if either you want to spend $200 just to get this stuff, this is from the Uneasy Allies lockbox. You want to spend $200 to get this stuff plus a disco ship, go be my guest. But your chances are pretty slim. Next is the Lorca's Fire Controls. It's for the 2-piece, and for even without the 2-piece, it's for this alone. For the crit chance and the power setting, who cares? But it's for the shield penetration and the crit chance. That's just about it. And also the stacking on crit severity. And because my crit chance is already high, I can pretty much use this 2-piece to stack crit severity, which it could hurt people a lot, which is pretty cool. The 2 I have for survivability, which is from the Dynur colony, which is Assam Sama's home, which is the Protomatter Matrix Infuser. Every time I activate a TAT console or any of that matter, of course it gives some destructive damage because all I use is disruptors, and of course it gave me some hull healing and some shield regeneration, and it stacks up to 10 times, which is pretty damn cool. Absolutely ridiculous. And because the ship has low survivability, because it's a Science Dreadnought, I decided to put that there. Slap it on there, pretty much. Next is my favorite. It's the Graviton Displacer from the Strand. Now this grabs enemies and it hurts them. It hurts them as bad. It hurts them bad, but at the same time it groups them up like a gravity well, a movable one. So that's pretty nice. And it's pretty much almost my favorite console in the game, because I'm able to just grab people and I won't really have to move around to figure out to pick them off one by one when I can just grab them all together. And that's why I have unconventional systems, so I can use this fun clicky again. This is from the suspension burst from the Jirac Alliance carrier. This is from last year's anniversary event. This gives some crit chance and crit severity. This gives a lot of crit chance to your pets, which is absolutely ridiculous. And it gives it, and of course it gives it to like pets and summons for 20 seconds. And it placates foes for 20 seconds, which is something I don't really care about. but the fact that it does it for your pets is absolutely crazy. And the Hyper Focus Tyranny Array is my primary first console in the game, which I absolutely love. It has some good passives, but what gets me is the Tyranny Arrays, which reminds me of the Death Star. Of course, it doesn't hurt as bad because, of course, its radiation damage is so damn small it can barely hurt a cube. But the fact that it's able to have 75%, negative 75% all damage resistance, which makes it like a one-tap for any weapon you have in the game, makes it pretty unique in its own way. And I normally just have it because of Space Barbie, because I want to actually have like a ship that actually looks like the Death Star, nonetheless. And this ship does not really suit it much, but it'll do for the negative damage resistance. Okay, so as for the stations, it's mostly a temporal ship for the 2 seatings, and it has a Commander Science, which I just slapped some gravity well and some unconventional system stuff. As for the temporal stuff, some unconventional system stuff, and recursive shearing, which is not an unconventional system trait, but of course it stores a lot of hull damage, which is the reason why I have the Acheron as my main flagship, because of the recursive shearing and all the other ships. Of course I can just use surgical strikes and make the Vengeance my main ship, but of course I want that Emperor feel to it. So that's why I picked the Acheron. I made it work, and I made it successful. So for my tactical, let's see, just some cannon scatter volley because I'm running cannons, some torp because I have a dark matter quantum torpedo, and this for the radiation damage. It's pretty valid. All this is pretty valid. So as for the traits, I'm sorry, it's the digital compilation, which is absolutely garbage, but it pretty much makes it good for Space Barbie, because of course any foe you defeat, it turns into a digital plasma bolt for 15 seconds, and of course it shoots like 2,000 plasma damage over at least 1 to 2k plasma damage, which is, it's alright. Not much to my standards, but it's okay. It's okay for Space Barbie, nonetheless. So, we're going to try this out on an ISE. But before I do that, I'm going to just say that this ship, many people say that it looks like the ship from Mass Effect. Now, I don't really know about Mass Effect very much, because of course I'm most likely a Star Trek nerd, not a all-around space sci-fi nerd who basically loves space nonetheless. I do love space, but not to the point where everyday aliens come to kill you. I pretty much love some exploration as well. Last time I checked, I don't like being much of the Terran Empire who likes to kill everything just to ensure its own survival. But of course, I have the Confederation, which does just that, which makes it pretty ironic and make you guys like, oh, isn't this pretty much why? Because space is always out to kill y'all? And I'm probably like, yeah. Because the Confederation pretty much protects itself, and it enforces on others, and it kills others to make sure it ensures that the Confederation is the dominant force in the galaxy, and pretty much nothing's going to be able to stop it. Well, until the Iconians arrive. But nonetheless, it also has a unique thing here, which is you can pretty much see another galaxy. Pretty cool, am I right? And also the back. Looks pretty cool, am I right? Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. So of course we're going to do an ISE just to ensure its survivability. Ooh, and I forgot to collect that. Thank you. But we're going to do an ISE to ensure its survivability. I don't really have a way to record anything, like as far as DPS goes. But I've already tested it as soon as I got it, and I have to say that it does a little bit good, especially when you have gravity well inserted. But other than that, that's pretty much about it. I pretty much slot that when I need to. Forgot to slot those there. Oh my, a lot of stuff I forgot to slot. Oh no. Oh, we're all gonna die. No, of course I was gonna get the Hydra too and do a review on that, but I suppose that some people already did the review on the Hydra. The Hydra is a good ship, but not for me to use. Like, I use the Hydra only. Of course, I want to get the Hydra only for its training console, but some uneventful things came up, and I have to wait another week, which is okay. It's not the end of the world for me. One must learn to save money. Sadly, but unfortunately. And this is the one that I use when it comes to friends from unusual places. Of course, it lowers the recoil downtime because it's not saying like, oh, it's a weakness because you need help, but of course I own a flight deck carrier, so I want to have more pets in my arsenal. So that's why I have them. Alright, so here we go. Let me see something real quick. Huh, not bad. And 250.3 accuracy rating. Or not accuracy rating, but crit severity. That hurts. Alrighty, so of course, normally I would count the survivability as a plus, but that is not it. And pretty much it is a science dreadnought, so I have to give it a eh. Because mostly all science dreadnoughts don't really survive that long. Nonetheless, but this one kind of did it. But I'm actually happy that it did, because of course I kept using the casual reversion, which helped with my hit points every time I used some entropy, so it helped me stay alive a little bit longer. And of course I was going to use the digital transformation on the cube, which it was supposed to at least, you know, of course it would turn my ship off and make me a little bit vulnerable. I have done it several times, but you know, it did not go good for me. I was destroyed at least almost twice when using it. But I believe, oh, I am so sorry. But as for the plier size dreadnought, it is absolutely garbage. I pretty much, if you want to use it for a Space Barbie theme, like a V'ger Space Barbie theme, then I'd say go right on ahead. Nothing is stopping you. Your build is your own. But of course, I would probably use it on like a science build, and I can't say you can make it a torpedo boat because you do not have concentrating firepower 3. It doesn't have any command seating. It only has temporal seating. But I'm pretty much sure many people can come up with all kinds of crazy weird stuff, as they did with the Eternal and the Vern. And of course this ship is not really like those. It's actually pretty much garbage. But it's good to at least have it out, to have it here every once in a while. Just show it to your friends on like the progress you made and what you did, nonetheless. But other than that, I have to give it like a 2 out of 10 because it's not really a good ship to fly. If you're trying to fly, I recommend you either fly the Kittimer Alliance battlecruiser or the Bajora Interceptor. Oh, and of course, the thing I was using mid-battle was sensor analysis. That, of course, if the foe is targeted, it does 5 bonus damage per stack. Stacks up to 6 times. And of course, it has bonus power drain. And of course, incoming heals. Your target is halved. And of course, if target is a friend, it heals them. So it does pretty much. Of course, it gives you some bonuses to that as well. So I'm pretty much sure it's not that bad. But I have to say that the ship, the trait, and the console is, everything about it is garbage. Well, except for the looks and the design work that they put into it. So it's not really bad after all. Because if you really want if you want to take like a screenshot or something like that, you can if you want. Or anything in that matter, you can if you want. I'm sorry, I am drowsy. Pretty much sure that allergies medicine is kicking in. But I believe that is it for the review of the Compiler Science Dreadnought. Hopefully you guys like, share, and subscribe to this stuff, because it really does help the channel a lot, and it helps me make more videos like this. I mean, even if this doesn't get enough views, I'll continue to make more, because it is a hobby that I enjoy. That is a door, not a sphere, because I would have been screaming out of my top of my lungs right now. But of course, if anything, you can get this ship, and it's kind of worth it to get it. But of course, if I knew it was going to be this useless, I wouldn't do a review. But of course, I want to get what I want. I want to get what I can, so that I can do a review on it. Pretty much helps my channel grow and stuff from the things I've done in the past, which is pretty damn ironic. But other than that, I believe that is it for the review. And hopefully I will see you guys on the next one. And goodbye.